Good afternoon, everybody. It's nearly 3:30. It's late to do a video. It's 19th of November, Wednesday, 2025. Well, 19th of November, 2025, and it's Wednesday. So anyway, this is a theater here. Obviously, it has been renovated, but you can see that it was an old Soviet theater. You can see it by the name in the very top right there. Look at Belarusian people working probably before the ground freezes up. So I was going to walk through this area and show you a little bit of maybe some Stalinist. These are all Stalin type, built in the Stalin era, Stalin type houses. So, and then talk about a little bit of the news. And as you all know, if you're following all of this corruption here, corruption there, corruption in the United States, all these cover-ups, covering up the Epstein things and covering up this, and giving you fake news about the killing of all these fishermen, and some of them are probably drug smugglers down in Venezuela and Colombia. Oh man, all these agendas, one agenda after the other. And Donald Trump, of course, he has his agenda, as you all know, in Russia. He wants to be known as the president that defeated and destroyed and brought Russia to its knees. But you know, and brought peace by strength, which is by destroying Russia, I guess. But of course, he's got his second agenda. Maybe he can bring about peace the way peace should be brought about. But you never know. You never know this stuff. So, little doggy doesn't want to go to the bathroom there. So, and Ukraine, I was seeing a video. It was yesterday. It was about yesterday as well, so they filmed it and put it up. Somebody put it up right away about all these fights going on in their parliament there, and people are blocking this and blocking that. I guess there's a lot of different factions apparently on this corrupt person and that corrupt person, and you have all these people. Some are hiding out, and nobody knows actually where these people are. Are they in Greece? Are they in Turkey? Are they in the United States? And apparently Witkoff is supposed to meet with Umerov. People said it was canceled. Maybe it was canceled, but now it's on again. And who knows? Who knows? So you got to think of, like, for example, Donald Trump. You got to find out what is his agenda for the moment. And then maybe he's going to go with that. You know, he doesn't really know what he's going to do until right before he does it. So I think that's the best way to describe Donald Trump and his decision making. Look at this house. Well, I like yellow. Somehow it sticks out. But the house is very interesting. Only 2 floors. And that looks like they probably painted it, well, maybe this year. At least maybe the top floor or the lower floor, because there's a difference in the color. The lower floor over there is lighter than the top floor. Probably big, spacious apartments, I would imagine. Generally quiet neighborhood. Partizansky Square is a 3-minute walk that way. Okay, so keep going here. But anyway, as far as corruption in Ukraine, they also had a video with Zelensky. It was made in 2021, and you know, that's when they were talking about corruption. That was before the special military operation, by the way. And I think he was still wearing green all the time. And then he's, you know, asking some reporter from I don't even know where, if they'd been to Ukraine, and because they'd never been to Ukraine, therefore there's no corruption in Ukraine. That's proof. Is kind of what he was saying to her. That's proof. That's proof that you can't. That there is no. You know. Have you ever heard of any corruption lately? I mean, he has all these catch-you phrases. I don't know. The man in black now. I guess he's not a green goblin or a little green man or anything anymore. He's the man in black. He's switched to black at some point when all of us weren't looking. So he's always wearing black, and he's got his his 1960s black suit that Donald Trump says he likes, which I doubt it very much. Looks like he's ready to go out on a disco with it. I guess I'll walk past these guys. Why are they always working in Belarus? Gee, isn't it sickening? They're working. Why don't they let it get run down like Latvia and Lithuania and all those places? Oh man. So guys digging and digging and digging. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Sometimes they get away with not doing very much work, but most of the time you see in Belarus everybody's doing a lot of work, and they're working. It's not like Germany where one guy's working and 6 other guys just stand around watching. I don't know. The United States, it differs. Sometimes everybody's working, sometimes one person's working. But let's keep going. I guess that's corruption too, isn't it? So this is a busy street. I shouldn't have come down here, but there's a really nice building down here, but I don't know. Hopefully it's not going to get too loud. Okay. Zelensky's big advisor, Podolyak, I guess he's intelligence man too. SBU, I guess he's running the SBU, as you all know. I can't keep these guys straight, Zermak and Podolyak and all these acts and yaks and things like that. But I believe, you know, he's the guy in charge of the SBU. Sometimes you don't hear about him for a while. Sometimes you do. But apparently he says every place is corrupt. In a way, he's right. Gosh, more working. See, these are probably government buildings. This is also from the Stalin era, I believe, maybe even before. And you see it's only 2 floors. And normally you know that it's from those eras because it's maybe no more than 5 floors. Normally 4 floors. That's how big they built them in those days. And Khrushchev, he wanted to outdo Stalin. So he started making them of worse quality because he wanted to make them faster and higher. He thought he could do better than Stalin, and that's when the quality went down. And anyway, not a very good thing. But during the Stalin time, all the buildings were built much better. Okay, Podolyak. He's making a point. Of course, there's corruption everywhere. But as you know, they're trying to make everybody look the other way and say, I mean, you got to figure out what is corruption. I even wrote a lot about what is corruption on here. More people working. So, looks like they're doing every building on this street. And I wanted to come here, and this is the honest to God truth, and show you guys that these buildings here still had the old Soviet look to it and everything. And it's all changing now because they're all redoing it all. Terrible. Just what I wanted to show you guys. I went by here on a bicycle some months ago in the early summer, and now, well, maybe you'll see some. Well, at least you know that I'm not lying to you. See, look, you can still see some of it here. Sometimes they take away the decorations. These ones, no, were not really extraordinarily decorated, but some. There's a really nice house over there. I'll get there. Even over there, they're building. Look at that. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe I can rush over here, show you this nice house over here. Not this one. I have to get a little bit closer. Then I'll head back. Actually, I'm not talking so much about politics. I'm showing you a street here as well. So anyway, what did Podolyak say? He said corruption is just part of a modern economy. In a way, he's actually right. And a lot of that, his correctness, is if you're looking at, for example, Friedrich Merz or Macron or Ursula von der Leyen or even Donald Trump with the Epstein files. I mean, these people, it's just corruption after corruption after corruption. You know, trying to do cover-ups and hiding things and stealing people's money. It's stealing the taxpayers' money. That's what all these people are all about. The whole West is doing nothing. I was just even showing you. I was showing you. That's where the taxpayers' money goes in Belarus. They renovate the buildings. And these are all owned by the government. And we just paid our tax for our apartment for the year. It's like 30 rubles, $10. $10 for our tax for the year. And then what do we pay in maintenance costs? It might work out to be $50 a month, 12 months of the year, about that. Apparently it's gone up somewhat. I mean, that includes everything. I mean, that's everything. That's your heating costs, that's your internet costs, it's your electricity costs, it's your garbage, it's your water, and it's your building maintenance costs. It's what you pay. What do you pay in the West? What do you pay in the West just for maintenance costs? Oh, look at these old trams too. See, that's what was so fascinating here in this area. It's like, it's absolutely incredible. A lot of old stuff, and I used to walk up the street, and it was like, wow, I'm walking in 1940 or 1950, and that's what it was like walking on that street. But it's all getting renovated now. If it was me, I would have suggested to the government, just leave it as it is, but just renovate it, put a prettier face on it. But anyway, and maybe they are, I don't know. We'll see what happens when it's finished. Ah, these bag, I got this new coat, and the bag slides off. So, but like I said, you see where the taxpayers' money goes here. And you have, who's mowing the lawn here? Well, this is done from government money. All of these apartment buildings, thousands of them, all over in Belarus. This is not private. And I'll tell you what, a lot of these Belarusians, what they need to figure out is, if they get their wish, they should be careful what they wish for. And they want it to be like the West over here. And then they want to wait. They should wait and see, even if they own the apartment, what they're going to be paying just for their maintenance costs. That does not include any electricity or your water bill or your garbage or anything like that. And they'll be paying 300 friggin' euros a month, because that's what you pay in Germany. 300 euros a month. It's not $50 for everything, it's 300 euros just for your maintenance costs. They're going to sell all these things off. That's what a new government would do that is in the pocket of the West. They'll sell all these buildings off to private ownership, BlackRock mainly, and probably only BlackRock. That's probably what they're doing in Ukraine. They sell it all off to BlackRock, and then everybody gets taken to the cleaners. Every man, woman, and child in all of Ukraine is taken to the cleaners because they're paying through the nose now. They can't possibly afford it. I'm not sure how bad it is right now in Lithuania and Latvia, Estonia, and even Poland. Since they did this, oh, they joined the West. Oh, the free West, everything's better. Anyway, but look at this. Like I said, they're renovating all these buildings. I want to see if I can cross here. Also, that's another thing. They obey the law here. Normally, I'm not supposed to cross, and if the police see me, I might be in big trouble. I don't think I'm supposed to. Well, actually, look there's a path here. I could make a point and say, well, there's a path worn. It's a lot like British common law. Since there's a path worn there, then it makes it okay to cross. I believe that is the truth in a lot of countries, to a certain extent, something close to British law at least. But look at how this must have looked. Well, must look even before they put up the plaster, this old building. A lot of this. Well, you get the picture. Let me keep on going with the news here. Sorry about that, people. I've got too many interests when I'm out and about, especially. Okay. Maybe I'll take a break right here. No, it's too loud. And yes, you call an ambulance and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. It's not like in the United States where you're going to have to pay $400, at least where I come from. It was $400 you have to pay back in the old days when you call an ambulance or something. But here, that's part of your tax money. Okay, looks like there's a cemetery over there. I guess that's the word for cemetery. I don't even know how to pronounce it yet anymore. I forgot. Old satellite dish, look at that. Another one. Couldn't even hear what he said. Okay. But anyway, Podolyak, his message, he's sending out a message to everybody that it's normal. Everything is normal. Everything in Ukraine is normal. The corruption is normal. And I guess Podolyak has got himself a very good education on how things are in the West. That's why he says it's normal, because he knows what normal is over there by all of these government officials that he knows. Joe Biden, Boris Johnson, who comes for his visits all the time, maybe doing a little white powder fun with Zelensky. So that's what he knows as normal. So it's normal, the corruption. Wow. Merz, I don't know what happened in that train with Merz when he covered up something there, and Macron, something wrapped in a napkin he put in his pocket or something. Anyway, I don't know what that's all about. So like I was going to say, what is corruption then? Gosh, look at that building. Makes you see how these old buildings we're looking at was so amazing. When you see look at the fine points when I used to walk here, or I mean I took a bicycle here a few times, and you could see that they have an older look to it. And a lot of it might be gone now on a lot of these buildings. I'm sure there's still some, obviously. So what is corruption? Like I said, if you look at all these different people, all of them have a different, everybody has a different definition of what is corruption. And of course, the main definition of corruption is rotting meat. If you look it up in the dictionary, definition number 1, rotting meat. You know, I'm not talking about Joe Biden. I'm talking about meat that maybe you bought, or some animal or something, that roadkill or whatever. Old streetcar. It was like amazing going here, and you say, well, damn, I'm back in the Soviet Union days. See the old streetcars and these old buildings? It was really something. But now they're all looking nice and new now. All this renovation. So it's just water spraying out the. But corruption for Ursula von der Leyen and Biden, and a lot of these people, is probably a lot different than how Lukashenko or Putin looks at corruption. What is this stream of water shooting out here? Obviously, I am not going to walk down there. I'm going to walk over here. Maybe I can do a I'm singing in the rain. No, I guess they stopped it. No. Yeah, it's just too loud up there. It's just too loud. That guy stopped spraying the water out for my benefit, but anyway. And I was going to show you some more of the houses there, and it still has a lot of the old Soviet look. Maybe that's even more so. But it looks like they're still doing some working on some of those houses as well. So anyhow, so again, what is corruption? And I said to look what you look at in the dictionary. But my dictionary has at least one full page. And I looked at this a long time ago because I was wondering, well, what is corruption? And if I can remember properly, it was at least 1.5 pages, the definition of corruption, at least, if not more. And like I said, rotting meat is one, but the definition that I came up with, that is the best definition, looks like these guys were just raking up some leaves. Looks like these young gentlemen. Oh, see, going up that street, there's also, look at a new roof. As I'm saying, look at this. You pay that kind of money for for a month, $50. And look at, then you get a new roof after a while, and you may not even get that when you're paying huge amounts of money in the West. And guess what? A lot of these supplies and things, these building materials, they come from the West. And so how can we afford it over here? But I don't know, everybody wants to cash in, I guess, in the West. I might see if I can get to some of the other buildings over there. It's a child playground over here, behind the apartment buildings. Okay. But anyway, the best definition of corruption that I saw is illegal or unethical behavior conducted by a person or persons in an official position. So in any case, when you're working at a job, for example, you're a supervisor and you do something that's illegal, maybe based on the laws of the firm as well as human law and government law and whatever law, and you do something, and I guess that's also considered corruption when it's illegal or when it's unethical. Like, what do you call unethical? That was where the question comes in. Like Donald Trump, he's saying that what did he call Massey, or what did he say about his wife? That his wife is stuck with a loser. I mean, I tell you what, a lot of people talked about that, and I believe I think I even said it. I saw the video with the Alex Cristoforo, and he basically said the same thing. You know, that it's disgusting. It's really disgusting language, especially to talk like that about people that put you in power, and say that sort of thing, and call Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor. Now there's some generator going here. There's always noise, so I can't show you that house. Everybody's always working, and there's generators and noise going in Belarus, you know. Tells you something as well. There's some buildings not quite renovated, but they don't look so ornate. It's only the backside, by the way. So anyway, so you got to answer all these questions. What is unethical? What is illegal is very easy, obviously. Anyway, it's still confusing. And then you have this question of, did you knowingly do something unethical or knowingly do something illegal? And oftentimes, what if your supervisor tells you to do something? You know, you have this little clause, at least when I was in the military, that if they tell you to do something and you know it's illegal, you know, or maybe unethical, that you shouldn't do it. And I believe that is often. I remember that in Germany when we were told, it used to be where if a dentist wants you to do some piece of work a certain way, and you were taught that that's not how to do it, actually you were supposed to do it. And then they came up while I was there, and they revised that and said, if you know that that's not how you're supposed to do it, I guess you have to raise in writing to a dentist that you know that that's not the proper way to do it. And there's one question like, oh, a dental technician, it's like a free end bridge. Like a bridge that's not really a bridge, it's like a crown on a tooth, and they got a little thing hanging on the end of it that is not attached to anything. And then they had this little formula that we had to use, and if it's more than a certain percentage, and then how many newtons of force is getting bit down on that little piece that is not connected, you know, it's not really a bridge, it's a free end. And you know, if it's more than a certain amount, then you shouldn't do it, or else you have to get something written by the dentist. And normally, even if you don't, probably something's not going to happen. So anyway, it didn't change so much really. Just makes it so that you're getting in trouble if the patient or something doesn't like it. Okay, so yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she gave a little speech in front of the press. There was a lot of microphones in front of her, and she was talking about the fact that she really didn't like being called a traitor. and she said that she supported Donald Trump and never asked for anything in return. As you know, she didn't make a deal, and maybe that's one reason why Donald Trump did that, is because he doesn't respect her. You know, I mean, it's like Trump, he admires people that are tough negotiators, and maybe people that stick it to him, maybe try to cheat him. And then I've met people like that. You know, if you try to cheat them and things like that, they respect you. But if you don't, I kind of worked for a guy like that too, and he didn't have any respect for me. He said I was too much of a nice guy. It's like, you know, it's like, well, what if it's not me being a nice guy? What if it's something I really just don't really care about? It's not that important to me. So you go ahead and do that, and, you know, and it doesn't matter, you know. But no, he wants me to fight for something that it doesn't really matter much to me. It's like, what? You know, I mean, I just don't care, you know. I don't know. That's, you know, everybody's different. Everybody misjudges everybody, but that's how it is, as you know. Different types of people. I don't know why Donald Trump hates that Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey came out and said it's because Thomas Massey didn't invite him to his wedding. And I don't know if he was being serious or not, but that was a couple of days ago. But Trump, I'll tell you what, like I said that yesterday in the video. I said there's going to be a lot of people very, very, very relieved when Donald Trump isn't president anymore. And he's probably going to take that as a compliment, that he's basically a really disgusting guy. He's a disgusting, aggressive guy. And Donald Trump, I seriously, I don't think he's happy unless he's upsetting the apple cart. He has to be causing some kind of crap and turning things over and screwing things up, and then somehow make out to where he got some sort of a victory. I don't know. I tell you, I just seriously say it's disgusting about that guy. Okay. He believes he is beyond reproach. Everything that he does is great. Look here's some of the old stuff. I don't know if they're going to be changing that so much. They'll probably just renovate that all. And it's not super. Maybe they chose the best buildings first for all of this. Let me show you something else, and I've maybe shown this in other videos, but sometimes when you go through parks, and this is really not a park, this is just something behind some apartment buildings, but they often have, for your free use, exercising equipment. Like here's something, I guess you do some kind of sit-ups or something, I would imagine. I've seen those before, but I don't know. And this is to do, I guess, dips. I guess you call them dips. And this, rowing, I would guess is rowing. But they only have 3 here. I've seen some, they have like 6 different machines. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, this stuff that Donald Trump says and insults people, that he's beyond reproach. What happens when you insult Donald Trump? Then you have hell to pay. And somebody said, who was it, just the other day? I guess it was, if you don't do what Donald Trump tells you to do, that it's like he releases demons. He releases all the demons of hell on you, or something like that. I guess that's democracy for Donald Trump too. You know, freedom of speech. You do what I tell you to do. Sounds like a dictator to me. Sounds kind of like everybody's talked how Stalin was, but I don't think Stalin was anything like that. I think Stalin was a lot nicer than Donald Trump in those ways. I know what we are told about Stalin, and I guess a lot of that is nothing but lies. And it was, I guess, put out a lot by Khrushchev. And Khrushchev was very, very jealous of Stalin. And a lot of people really, really loved Stalin. A lot of them still do. And Stalin, in a way, I guess he's a real tough guy too. He is, I guess, even on record as saying that what he wanted to do, which he didn't do, and what they said that should have been done, is you should have taken, I think it was like 60,000 of all of the top leadership of Germany after World War II and executed them. And some people now are saying, well, Stalin was right, because you're looking at some of their descendants like Annalena Baerbock or Ursula von der Leyen and probably Friedrich Merz and who knows who else. And these are all descendants of the top leadership of the Nazis. They're their grandchildren. So he might have something there. I don't know. Yes. Here is definitely an old building. I'm looking at it, looking at the roof and things. I'm not... And this is also needs a lot of work. Looks like they have a leak. Nobody ever fixed this. I don't know. It looks uninhabited. There's no real drapes. I wonder what this building is used for. There's no drapes in all the windows. None of them. And it's like an old building. So it's maybe, very possibly condemned. Or maybe, I don't know if this has anything to do with the colored fence. It looks like, no, it's too long. I was thinking for children, I'm playing Sherlock Holmes again. I was thinking, children or something, like a preschool on the lower floor, but it's not true. But look at how old this stuff is. And look at, they had a leak, obviously, up there on the gutters. And there's plants or heavy moss growing up there. Wow. Bag keeps sliding down. So, anyway, old Stalin didn't get his wish. Okay. But calling somebody like a traitor, and what Marjorie Taylor Greene did not say in that little speech of hers, in case you did see that, she did not say, she was trying to say, well, what a traitor is in America. That is somebody who basically betrayed America. What she could have said is said for everybody to say, what about Donald Trump compared to me? She should have said, and say, well, who is the one, America, make America great again, America first. Who is the one between the two of them that supports America most? Is it Donald Trump or is it Marjorie Taylor Greene? One thing she did say is, she said, well, a traitor is somebody who aligns themselves with a foreign government against the United States. Well, Israel, or maybe Biden with Ukraine, sending all of American taxpayers' money to Ukraine. Trump sending it all to Israel. Both of them sending it to Israel and Ukraine. I mean, Trump was doing that at the beginning as well. Luckily, Trump stopped sending a lot of that. He's still sending some. He's still giving massive help to Ukraine. But not necessarily against America. He's trying to, of course, destroy Russia. I mean, that's very obvious. Very, very obvious. You'd have to be pretty stupid not to see that that's Donald Trump's number one dream. And of course, in second place is just to get, Donald Trump, let me tell you this. Donald Trump, what is his goal? Donald Trump's goal is Donald Trump. Donald Trump first. Donald Trump in first, not America first. Donald Trump first, and Israel. Israel will facilitate that, so Israel first as well. And I said at the very beginning with Donald Trump, I said, in my opinion, and it's very obvious that it is absolutely true, that Donald Trump, he is success driven. He's not necessarily driven by money. He's got a lot of money. It's not like Zelensky. Zelensky wants more money, and maybe a lot of these other people do. But Donald Trump, he wants success. He wants everybody to worship him. His, he should get a golden toilet. He has a golden toilet seat. And I think he's probably going to buy that toilet seat from that Mindick, and have it match with his toilet seat, because he's already got the seat, and his stuff doesn't stink. When he leaves the bathroom, it doesn't stink. At least that's what he tells everybody. It doesn't stink. The Jedi doesn't stink. If it stinks and you say, no, that stinks, he gets his men in black. He calls in Zelensky. He calls his man in black, and Zelensky presses his little button and says, it doesn't stink. So anyway. But obviously Donald Trump, like I said, he's never going to apologize because he's beyond reproach. He doesn't make mistakes. Politicians that admit that they've ever made a mistake, they may as well just cash it in, that's the end of their career, most of them, you have to be very careful and try not to make mistakes, but some of them do, and I don't know. It seems to be toxic. It's just like talking to CNN. If you're a Republican, you can't do that. That's one reason why a lot of them turned against Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she talked to CNN. That's not allowed. As CNN is obviously the fake news, but they were very careful with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they didn't. I don't think they put her in any kind of position to where it looks like it's any kind of a fake news. So that really worked in her favor, I suppose. It didn't work against her in any way. Anyway, let's see. Okay. So there's been speculation to who is Epstein's boss. In emails that were recently released, he mentioned his boss, I guess, on a few occasions. I think George Galloway mentioned that in some short video. And at that time, Epstein was mentioning that his boss was coming because of the, what do you call that there? Because of the, oh, look at that old thing there. Wow, just done for storage. Look at, they can get away with that. Normally you're not allowed to do this. Leave these things like that. That's, oh, look at this. God, I like his haircut. Look at that. His hairstyle. No, just kidding. It looks familiar. Somehow it looks familiar to me. But, no, you're not allowed to have stuff that looks, I don't know, maybe he does drive it. Whoever has this, the tires are not flat. Okay. Like I said, I'm going on these tours looking at the houses. And well, and it's like -2, I guess. Okay, but anyway, nobody knows who Epstein's boss is, but if they're coming for a United Nations meeting, it kind of tells you maybe they're in a foreign country, and since he definitely is Mossad, and there's undeniable proof and evidence and witnesses to that, as much as anybody tries to deny it. Oh, look at garbage even in Belarus. Look at that. So anyway, there's undeniable evidence that proves that. And I don't know, it can't be Israel. Look at this. I wonder if somebody's stealing some tools. It looks like it's for a drill or something. Maybe there's a nice drill in there. Somebody trying to steal it from one of these workers around here. See, look at this. Getting really old, some buildings here. That's one reason why I'm here. Like, look at this one. They had already renovated it. Colored it all and everything, painted it. So this is where they left off. But I tell you, winter has set in. So who knows what's going to happen now. More working. Why don't they ever stop working in Belarus? So where do I go from here? I think I walk down that street over there. So anyhow, it's obviously Israel. So where else? Bangladesh? Do you think it's somebody from Bangladesh or something? They're having their problems too, I guess, lately. Okay. Shit. And as Trump, he's bragging that his tariffs have brought in trillions of dollars. Already trillions of dollars. And what do you say? 17 trillion, he said yesterday. And then, no, the day before yesterday, maybe. And then, or maybe it was early yesterday. And then later in the afternoon, he said it was 21 trillion. Look at that. $3 trillion flooded into the United States in just a few hours. Damn, he's good, Donald Trump. So anyway, he said 21 trillion. And that's MBS. Mohammed bin Salman from Saudi Arabia, the leader of Saudi Arabia, said that he said he's going to invest up to like, I think, $600 billion. And Donald Trump said, oh, he'll push it up to 1,000 if I asked him to or want him to or something like that. So he's calling that already $1 trillion. Did I say 1,000? Anyway, he'd push it up to $1 trillion. Wow. But obviously, bin Salman is not saying he's going to do that right away, like tomorrow or next week, not even next month, probably not even next year. That's going to be over the course of a long period of time. It's not like he has a 600 billion or 1,000 or $1 trillion just sitting around. I just sitting over there. It's in my drawer it's in my underwear drawer. I got my $1 trillion in the underwear drawer. That's where I keep it. and because nobody will look in there, and because that's where everybody puts it. I don't know, and so I'm going to invest it in the United States. I mean, what better place to invest it in? In a place that most people in the world trust their money, they trust the financial system, and they trust how the United States handles their money. So why not put it in the United States? You know? Oh, I'll tell you what, everybody knows that. Maybe they will, you know, I'll tell you what, maybe you would want to trust Euroclear, but Euroclear is under big pressure, which to a large extent, that means it is the government of Belgium, and they're really, really pressuring them. And all these other countries, you have, especially, you know, just Ursula von der Leyen. She's the one. Remember, she's she's the most corrupt person in the European Union, beyond any shadow of a doubt, beyond any shadow of a doubt. And she is the one that destroyed Germany's defense department. She was the Minister of Defense in Germany, and the one who came after her, basically, after staying there a few months, had to resign because the German Department of Defense was in such a shambles after Ursula von der Leyen that she said you just can't really do anything with it. So she really destroyed that, and she's doing a great job at the European Union, that's for sure, isn't she? I mean, with all of sending all this money to Ukraine, we stand with Ukraine. I don't know. And sending all their money, I mean, obviously, Ursula, what was it, $1 billion Pfizer scandal. Huge amounts of vaccines, you know? And where did all that money go? It makes you really wonder. Most of it was, of course, the taxpayers' money from the European Union, but it all probably, I mean, do you think it all went to Pfizer? Do you think Pfizer made $1 billion? Because it was all about Pfizer. I don't know. Look on their sheets, on their, I don't talk about their dirty sheets. I'm going to talk about, look at their accounting sheets. I can guarantee you it doesn't say $1 billion. Makes you really wonder how much just didn't make it out of the European Union, and where did it go while it was in the European Union? And I don't know. Do you think Ursula knows? Do you think Ursula knows? I mean, I don't know. Talk about a golden parachute. Boy, oh boy, it sounds like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it's really strange. You get all these corrupt women. You know, you got Ursula, and there's Baerbock, and Hillary Clinton, and Nancy Pelosi, and what about Kaja Kallas? Some people are saying that there's a battle for power, you know, and Ursula's trying to take over Kaja Kallas's powers as the foreign minister, or whatever the heck her position is called in the European Union. But Ursula, boy, oh boy, power-hungry woman too. So, anyway, I'm talking about old Mohammed bin Salman. But with that money that Donald Trump claims that it's flooded into America, you know, Donald Trump, there's no, beyond any shadow of a doubt, Donald Trump is full of crap, you know. There's no 21 trillion, there's not even 17 trillion. None of this stuff is flooded into America. So what is he going to say? He said, we're making so much money that I'm going to send $2,000 to every American. Well, why doesn't he send $20,000? He could send a heck of a lot more, to be honest with you. That's just giving him, you know, that's just pennies compared. I mean, when you're getting $17 trillion. And where is it? Where is the $17 trillion? I don't know. He can hand out F-35s like candy. If he got 17 trillion. So, so Russia is going into big time. They're building this huge icebreaker called the Stalingrad, and this is going to be it's an icebreaker, and it's going to be, I think Russia, what are they on? 6 icebreakers, 6 of these massive nuclear-powered icebreakers. And the technology that Russia has attained with nuclear reactors is unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. And it's all revolutionary. And this is incredible stuff. And the Chinese are coming up with revolutionary, like reactors powered by thorium rather than uranium. And it's much cleaner and much safer. And the United States is way behind. in all of this. But the Russian reactor, like for example on the Stalingrad, this icebreaker, this massive icebreaker ship, it will not need to be refueled for 7 years. So you put the fuel in here, and they have a technology now in Russia where it takes the nuclear waste and basically it recycles itself, and it turns it into fuel. And it's a very small amount of waste, nuclear waste afterwards. So it's not like we're right off the coast of California. How many kilometers? And they dump it all out in barrels. They dump nuclear waste off the coast of California, off of what is, I don't know how many, couple miles or something like that. And they even know about this huge area. What is it? 28,000 barrels of nuclear waste. You know, that's good. They really care about the environment over there. You know, but probably going after Russia for that anyway. So Israel made a big mistake on the Palestinian refugee camp. I guess it's 60 kilometers into Lebanon. Apparently, they didn't kill whatever they were trying to kill. It's an old refugee camp. I think it was a very old, maybe back, what did they say, 1948, very old, in Lebanon. It's Palestinian, but it's in Lebanon. And I guess it's called the Ain al-Hilweh. Ain al-Hilweh. Ain al-Hilweh. Allah. That's how you pronounce it, I guess. And they killed at least 15 people, and they injured and maimed close to 100 so far. They said they were being careful not to kill too many, but they don't care about collateral damage so much anyway. Anyway, that's what happened. So it's another big bombing. I mean, Israel does a bombing like nearly every night, obviously. Okay. Oh, and apparently, who was it? I think it was also on that video I saw of George Galloway. He said that Epstein does have a list. He did have a list, not does. He's gone. But he did have a list of his clients as far as pedophiles. I guess Epstein had a lot of lists. He was like an obsessive list keeper. He had lots of lists. And I was even putting out, and I said, I doubt that very much he has any kind of a list, but it looks like he did have a list of all these people. And it's much like Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, as you all know, he's got a list of American AIPAC billionaires that he needs to call up whenever he is under any sort of a threat from any kind of a political person or anything. Benjamin Netanyahu can call his billionaires that he owns. He doesn't only own most of the United States government, he owns the private sector. He owns a lot of the billionaires. It is absolutely shocking. It is absolutely terrible. And it is actually, I mean, you look at even Marjorie Taylor Greene, she doesn't have a chance. She does not have a chance to rein in Israel, and especially somebody like Benjamin Netanyahu. And Donald Trump, of course, he's down in front of Benjamin Netanyahu doing the circus seal. Everybody knows that Benjamin Netanyahu controls and runs Donald Trump. So he's a handler of Donald Trump. As much as Donald Trump tries to act like a tough guy, Benjamin Netanyahu, he's even come right out and said, well, we do what we want to do. We're independent, you know, but nobody else is independent. Nobody on earth is independent except for Israel, especially at the face of Donald Trump. Donald Trump does everything. He moves the embassy to wherever Israel wants it. He gives them the Golan Heights if they want it. He's the and then he comes around and brags about it. I am a weak son of a bastards, and I do everything for Israel. Me and Ted Cruz, you know, and they call themselves Christians, but they're not really Christians. And it's just like in Islam, it's pretty much what they allude to, the fact that there is no such thing, because it's a contradiction of terms, a Zionist Christian. There is no such thing. There is no Zionist Christians. What you are is a subservient servant of the Jews. I'm talking about the Zionist Jews. You're subservient to Zionist Jews if you call yourself an Orthodox Christian. And there's no two ways about it. That's what you are. You may as well just turn Jewish, you know, with one stroke of a pen or a visit to a synagogue or something like that. You can go from a slave to one of your other people's masters. So I just go. If I were them, I would just join Judaism. If they worship and admire Judaism, well, why don't they just friggin' become Jewish? I certainly would. There's no doubt about that. You don't have to do like during the Spanish Inquisition or even other times. There's even people nowadays that do that. They act like they're Christians, but they're actually Jewish, and it's a known fact. So, and like I said again, I have to be clear. I don't dislike Jews. I do not dislike Jews. I do not like Zionist Jews, and I do not like the Jews that feel they are superior. I don't like anybody. It doesn't matter, even if you're a Christian. If you think you're better than everybody else, I don't like you. I don't like anybody like that. And I've met Christians like that. There's some lady, and she has to at least say 10 times a day, read your Bible, read your Bible. And she felt so good about that, but yet she's the first one that's going to cheat you. She's going to cheat you out of everything you got if she gets a chance. There's so many. I've met so many like that. They talk, oh, Christian this, Christian, and all that, and they're the first ones that are going to rob you, you know, and they're just a disgrace to real Christians. And I'm not saying you have to lay down and give up everything if you're a Christian or anything to anybody else. You can be I'm kind of I'm not, I don't know if what am I, greedy? I'm not greedy at all. I'm not really that generous of a person. So, and I admit that. I'm not a really super generous person. I tell you what, when I was in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Fridays, I would pay for the beer for everybody there. I'd pay for the beer for everybody there on Fridays. And I did it nearly every Friday, and it was just a small group of people. There might be 5 or 6, maybe even, I don't know, never 7 really, maybe 6 people, and I would pay for the beer there. So, but in truth, I'm not really that generous of a person. Just maybe on different times and things like that. If I have an abundance of something, I'll hand some out to people if I think that they want it. I don't know, but that doesn't mean I'm generous. I think generous is more like if you have 2 things and you give some to somebody else, you know, that I don't know, you feel like you can just part with it, and I don't know, maybe, but I'm not greedy. I know a lot of greedy people. I know people with lots and lots and lots of money, and even when you do work for them, they won't pay you. I've seen that. As a matter of fact, you were talking about Jews. I've even mentioned that one time. I used to paint houses to pay my way in university, and to get money. And some lady tried to cheat me. She turned out she was the wife of a doctor, of a wealthy Jewish doctor, and I went to her house, and her house, the whole thing needed painting, but she had me do the trim, just the trim, only the trim. I've said this, I think, this story before, and I was thinking, well, and I kind of suspected something right there, just the trim, and the rest of her house needed painting more than the trim. So anyway, I did the trim, and then, like, what was it, a year later or a year and a half later, because I signed a guarantee. I guaranteed my work that it wouldn't need painting for some certain amount of 10 years, or I don't know what I said, 6 years. I think I said 6 years, because that's at least how long the paint would last and everything. And then she calls me and said I have to come back and paint her house because the paint is peeling off. And that is what? And anyway, she was trying. I remembered that, obviously. I remembered that very good because the house needed painting. And so I said, this is weird. And so she was trying to say that I painted the house and that the paint was peeling off. And I said to her on the phone, luckily I didn't have to make the trip, it was a long drive. And it was an area where very, very rich people live. And I said, I only painted the trim on your house. Do you have that contract? Oh, and she started talking a little bit more like this. So anyway, and that's the type of person that gives a terrible name to, I don't know, probably not even Zionists, but they're just one of the cheating types of Jews, and just terrible. But you still have to, like, you look at somebody like, say, Max Blumenthal, and you have to prevent yourself from taking it out on all Jews, because probably half of the Jews that are not Zionists wouldn't cheat you, and they'll be very fair. I've gone to businesses in New York, you know, and somewhere in the little black skull cap and stuff, and they didn't cheat me. So I don't know. They're not like all Shylocks. I talked about Shylock in one of these things from The Merchant of Venice from Shakespeare. You guys have to read it, I guess, if you want to understand a little more about that sort of subject. Okay, and there wasn't any Zionist back then, but anyway. So I saw an interview with, there was some Slavic expert. I don't know if he's either Russian or Ukrainian. And they believe all the powerful people are trying to keep, at all costs, to keep Zelensky where he's at. So Zelensky is probably not going to be replaced. They really like Zelensky because look at, he's served what they want him to do up until this time. They've all been shoveling money in their pockets in the EU, probably a lot in the United States, more in the EU, obviously. They're stealing money right and left. Ukrainians are thieving money, lots of them. And Zelensky knows all about that himself. Some people are trying to get by here. So anyway, a whole lot of stealing going on. And so they want to keep Zelensky there. You know what that means? That means they want to keep the war going, obviously. They want to keep this going as long as they can. And like I was saying, there was a huge fight in the Ukrainian parliament, and these people were arguing and blocking. They're trying to block this and block that because all the factions and the which one's corrupt and all that is like this. You couldn't see what the heck was going on. But a lot of time in the old, you saw in maybe the past years in the Ukrainian parliament, a lot of time there were fist fights. People are smacking each other in the face with their fists. Some of them throwing water. You know, like even when what's his name, who's that guy from Georgia? Saakashvili. And they're throwing water in each other's faces and all kinds of things like that. And yeah, that was something to see. Oh, do I have some food? I got some food. It's a black cat. I have to feed this black cat. Hope he's not sick. They sit on these manholes a lot of time for warmth. So this is sitting on a manhole cover. If I go over there, he probably will run. I'm nearly towards the end of this, so I'll hang around here until I can feed this kitty. Okay. But there's all these different ways that Ukraine has all this corruption. So this billions and billions and billions of dollars. Trust me. And they're talking about this Mindic, and it's 100 million. That's laughable. A lot of people are saying that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's a little thing right there. That is absolutely little. That's what Zelensky gets. He gets like 50 million every month that he sends to the banks. But I don't really, like I said, I can't say that that's all money that he's stealing. It might be, but he's got far more money than that. He gets a lot more than that every month. Zelensky obviously cashes in on 100 million every month. That's undeniable fact. Undeniable. Because he's got so many businesses, and they can't all be getting run into the ground. So he's making lots of money, legally and illegally, I guess. And but like I said, it's not just the military-industrial complex. It's not just the illegal weapons, the organ trade, child trafficking, sex trafficking, human trafficking, drugs, and even more. There's one thing that's actually come out, and you can't forget this because it's not mentioned that very much, very often, is they have call centers. Ukraine has call centers. And if you get on the buses sometimes, and always on the metro, they're warning you. They have a warning that comes out in Russian, of course. You can't even understand it if you know Russian. But they're talking about all these people doing telephone scams. And Ukraine, they're the masters of that. They have a whole bunch of that. And I'm sure that a lot of them, if not all of them, work through the government. So you get and this is billions of dollars. And they're shafting people. They're calling you up, and they're saying something like you're late on this or whatever. They do anything. There's all sorts of different scams. They're scamming you and they get your bank account number and they drain your entire bank account no matter who you are. And it's not just Russia and Belarus. They do that to the Ukrainians as well. They're probably doing that in Germany as far as I know. I don't know. It's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It is unbelievable. And and then they celebrate when they get the big money. Wow. So what else? I think that might be it. So now I could tell you again about the definition of corruption. Wow. And anyway, corruption, what's that? The biggest industry in the world. It's bigger than the military-industrial complex, bigger than the drugs, everything. But But now AI is becoming a part of that. Now I guess when you say you get a hamburger, you order out, and they bring the hamburger to you, because this was somebody put this on as an example, and then you take a photo of the hamburger, because they say, well, it was done, it was cooked, how prove that it wasn't or whatever like that. So you take a photo of it, and then you use AI to color it and make it look like the meat is raw. You can make it raw. It's not that they just color it. It makes it look like it's uncooked hamburger meat inside of there, and then you get your hamburger free, or they send you a new one or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But we're just at the beginning of this. This is going to get much, much worse, people. So anyway, that's it. It's probably pretty late, and I have to close this off and get it uploaded. Hope it's not going to be like the other video the other day was about, I don't know, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when it finished uploading. Terrible crap here. This area, maybe it'll upload a little faster. I don't know, we'll find out. Okay, everybody, thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.